gentleman and recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Issa, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. General Lynch, you and I work together on a myriad of issues, and I have great respect for many parts of the work you do and the way you do it. So I'm going to take a tack that maybe is more appropriate to my own district and to the men and women there who are asking certain questions. And I'll run you through some quick questions, and it's really for them to understand. You're obviously a skilled attorney. You took an oath. You're under a penalty of perjury as you speak today. You prepared for today so that you'd be able to answer some of the critical questions, including, obviously, the ones you've been asked so far. Is that correct?
I try and be responsive to the committee's questions, and I appreciate the information that staffers provide about what's of interest to the committee so that we can have the information for you.
So in that preparation, and you've got my old friend Peter Kazik behind you, you prepared to answer questions more or less in about 4 ways. Yes, no, I don't know, or I can't answer, or in some cases, some combination of that. That's pretty much how you answer here is affirmatively yes, affirmatively no, or these shades of gray in between, correct?
Congressman, I'm not going to go into the internal discussions.
No, I'm not asking for the internal, but the character of questions.
My responses in that way.
So, so far today, you have rarely said absolutely yes or absolutely no, correct? You've mostly talked in terms of I can't answer that, or it's not appropriate, or see the FBI director. And so in light of that, and this is really a question of what do I tell the Marines, the sailors, Army personnel in my district, the veterans, the contractors, all those who work for the government with classified information. The former Secretary of State, in an unambiguous way, said repeatedly, both under oath and to the public, time and time again, I did not send or receive any information marked classified. And you're aware of that she had definitively said this repeatedly, right?
I believe her statements are on the record, and I defer you to that.
And I have referred to that. She unambiguously said something which was not true, according to the FBI director. So when you send and receive documents that are marked classified clearly, and according to her statement, 300 people have seen her email. Some portion of those people saw the ones that said secret, top secret, confidential, whatever. None of them are charged. What do I say to the tens of thousands of people that live and work in my district, that work for the federal government, including more than 47,000 Marines? What do I say when, in fact, saying something that isn't true, handling classified information in an extremely careless way, has no criminal ramifications? What do I say to them? How do I reconcile the fact that they know that their friends and colleagues have been prosecuted or fired for doing less in the past?
Congressman, I can't speak to any cases you may be referring to involving friends or colleagues. Again, I would refer you to the description that
I appreciate
provided
that,
about
Madam General, but I've got to ask you a question.
That follow this similar fact pattern. That is what I think we focus on.
Okay, let me go through.
Every case is different.
Every case
has to be handled in the same way. Every individual, whether they are former secretary,
so there will be some cases
has to be reviewed.
Madam General, I have
with
very
the
limited
facts
time.
And the law there.
General Lynch, you keep mentioning this professional team of career professionals. Were there any political appointees on that team? Any people who, in fact, did not work for the State Department or did not work for the U.S. Attorney's Office prior to President Obama coming into office?
Well, again, with respect to the team, typically we don't go into the composition of it. It was led by our National Security Division, and everyone on the team was a career individual.
Again, I'll ask the question with specificity. I'm not asking for names. Was there at least one person who was politically appointed that was on that team?
The investigative team was composed of career prosecutors and seasoned agents.
The question is, was there at least one that did not work a career, that was in fact an appointee, either confirmed or unconfirmed?
Congressman, I've replied to you as to the composition of the team, that all of them.
So your answer is no. There were no political appointees.
All of them were career lawyers as well as seasoned investigators.
Okay. I'll take that as a no, because that's the only way I can interpret what you keep repeating. So, last but not least, the American people are told that these documents were not a crime to carelessly deal with. Should I find a way to make sure that those thousands of documents are made public so the American people can evaluate just how insignificant they are, or how President Obama said there's classified and then there's classified? Are these documents that could be easily made available to the public, or are they too sensitive to be made to the public today?
Congressman, you may take the appropriate steps in terms of reviewing anything, and you may make requests for that, and we'll work to accommodate you with respect to that. I don't have an answer for you beyond that.
So you couldn't today. You could not characterize whether any or all of those documents would have to be retained privately because they're too sensitive to be made public.
The time of the gentleman has expired. The witness will be permitted to answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the handling of any of the documents or emails in this matter, because they involve another agency, we would have to work with the other agency. We always work with the agency that is termed the owner of information. So on behalf of the Department of Justice, I would not be able to give you an answer at this time as to those documents because it would involve other agencies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.